Today I want to talk to you about what the cost of living is like in Spain. A lot of folks have this misconception, I would say, that things are wildly affordable and super cheap. And so we wanted to kind of level up with you and let you know what we experienced when it came to our property purchase and general cost of living kind of analysis for Spain.
And I think it's kind of like everywhere else in the world right now. Inflation has kind of gone through the roof, and I think things are starting to level out. But Spain, just like everywhere else, just like the United States, has gone through its inflation period, and where there were once properties that you could probably pick up and be really super excited. Now things are
Based on the price.
Yeah, just based on the price.
So what we found is that, of course, Madrid, Barcelona, and Malaga, those are center areas. They're very well known. There's lots of tourist traffic. Of course, prices are pretty high. It's more affordable than a top tier kind of American city would be, but especially Barcelona. We're always surprised about the food prices in Barcelona. But if you want your dollar to go super far, generally straying away from the coastal areas is going to save you money. We found that the mountains are very affordable. The rural kind of towns or smaller villages, those were super affordable. As far as like dollar cost, of course, big city on the coast, that's probably the highest cost, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Something with a view, something that is really sought after place, even for like the people in Spain. The place that we bought in is a beach town, and that's where everyone in Barcelona goes and has second homes. And, And so
it's definitely kind of, the experience is what you want to make of it, I would say, when it comes to cost and when it comes to savings. You certainly can live. You hear these stories on YouTube about couples that live for 2,000 US per month, and you hear the crazy stories about like 1,000 US per month. I would think that that's going to be definitely not what we would consider like an American standard of living. Like there's not going to be an in-unit washer dryer. There's not going to be a dishwasher. There's a lot of major, when you say a lot of sacrifices kind of made to get to that price point.
Yeah, but I guess it kind of depends on what your idea of life is. Are you okay with living outside of town? Are you okay with living in maybe a more rural area? Then you might find some really, really great bargains. Are you wanting to be like in the prime location on the beach with the amazing view, or in the how do they say it in Spain?
The emblematic
street, in the town or streets. Then you're going to pay a premium, just like you would in the States or any other country.
There's even some like great second tier cities like Cadiz and some other coastal areas. There's Valencia is getting to be more top tier, but there's like Villanova is a little bit south of Barcelona. We found, for 350,000 euros, you can get a really like great size flat. We found the cost of living to be significantly less than Sitges, where we purchased. Just for us, it wasn't a great fit. It felt very extremely local. We felt like we were kind of being not stared at, but felt like we were not 90+% of the folks that lived there were Spanish folks that definitely kind of looked at us as like, what are they doing here? And that was not the look we wanted as far as like from locals. We definitely kind of like the more of a mixture, maybe 20-ish% of kind of tourists and part-time residents. We thought was a good mix. And I think we found that.
And don't let that scare you away. The people were super friendly in Villanova, but we met multiple Spanish people that maybe currently were living in Sitges, or they were living in Barcelona, and they were actually moving to Villanova because the price per square foot, and maybe now their family was growing, where they had one child before and they could make the flat work. Now they were outgrowing, and so they decided, let's go somewhere where we can actually have more bang for our buck, so to speak, with whatever their new place was going to be. And so they were moving outside of Sitges to a place that was a little bit more affordable, where they'd have more square foot.
And it's always mind-blowing to looking on Idealista, which is their Zillow, their version of kind of like an MLS. And if you look in the rural areas, you go kind of coastal Barcelona, but go maybe 45 minutes inland and towards like the Penedès, like wine region. And gosh, what you get for your money is wild. I mean, you can go take 350,000 euros and get like a large estate, home on a couple of acres, and whereas on the coastal area that might be like a 900 square foot flat. So it's a wild difference as far as the compromises that you're willing to make, but that really it's similar to the US in that regard. The one thing that is not similar to the US, and I would add this, is that where we live in South Florida, you don't go in certain neighborhoods. Like, it's unsafe to go in certain areas. You wouldn't drive there. You would not just joyride past 95 and just go through these different areas and things like that. Especially at night, you just would not even consider it. And we tell that to people in Spain, and they're like, what? They're like, there's unsafe areas. They hear about the gun issues and things like that. But in Spain, and this has been our experience over the course of many trips, you can get in a car and go anywhere, and there's no moment that you feel like you're going to be unsafe. Even walking, which we do a ton of, we will park the car, drive to a random village, park in their little center area, and wander. We wander far outside of the retail, shopping, and restaurant areas, and you very, very rarely, I don't think
like
ever.
You're supposed to be somewhere.
Yeah, you never feel like unsafe, or like you're gonna get jumped, or your car is gonna get stolen, or if you're pumping gas, you have to like lock the car, and there's none of that that we've ever found that it's existed anywhere in Spain. And I've even looked online for like the most dangerous areas in Spain, and they really at this moment in time, I know
What did you see?
There really isn't that many. In the 90s, I guess they had a crime problem that kind of let up quite a bit in the early 2000s, I believe. But currently, knock on wood, and hopefully this remains the same, there just is not a major crime problem. They do have like the petty crime, the pickpocketing, the stealing cell phones, like the little stuff like that.
That's every major city though.
Yeah, especially like the main tourist areas. You don't go to Times Square and put your phone in your back pocket. Somebody's gonna grab it out of your back pocket in New York. But talking to locals about like what areas you should avoid or areas that are unsafe, they don't understand what you're talking about, because that's not really a thing. They do think it's kind of weird that we as tourists want to go towards go to visit their little towns where there's not much going on. They're like, why would you go there? And I'm like, because it's
quaint and
it's
cute.
so cute and so charming. And we went to get some paperwork done for our golden visa. We had to go about 40 minutes, I guess, west of Barcelona to some random little police station in the middle of nowhere to get some paperwork. And
it was so cute.
It was so cute. It was a very charming little town, and we both got a beer. We arrived early for our appointment, and so we went to a little cafe and got, I think, like a little baguette and a beer. It was $3 or €3.5.
Something ridiculous.
It was something insanely low. And so the prices, just going a little bit inland again, are going to be, half or even a third in some cases of what you may spend in a city. So,
and it was the same beer that we were drinking everywhere else. So it was not like this, different, a lower grade or lower quality.
Exact same
it was
bottle
all
of beer.
the same stuff. So
yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But I would just say that if you are looking at Spain because you think you're going to live like some pennies a day type of a budget, I would not say that that's realistic, right?
Well, I would encourage everyone to go on Idealist. Download it on your phone. It's a great little app. It's pretty pretty easy to navigate, and look around the countryside. We have some friends that moved to Spain just recently from Belgium, and they bought something out in the country. They have like an olive orchard out there.
It's like lots of land and a pool and I don't know what they spent for it, but it can't be much.
Well, I mean,
based on its proximity.
Yeah, the price per square foot is probably much lower than that living,
For sure.
On the water, and they have this amazing property. So, I certainly would encourage you to look around, because maybe, living on the water with the ocean view isn't your thing, and being out in the country with, lots of land is, and you might be really surprised what you can get. But I don't know.
You will be surprised, as far as what you can
That's
get.
not what we were looking for. So
And there's not, and again, there's not, just because you're buying in a rural area, it's not like sort of the rural areas in America where there's, I don't know, so like safety issues, or they don't like have like the redneck concept like we do in America. So even like being a gay couple, we didn't feel like unsafe. Of course, like people look a little bit different. You can tell, like in cities, they don't look at you twice. In the more rural areas, they might like kind of like, what do they?
Why are you here?
Why are you here? Why do you find this place interesting? But we find Spain just so charming. So if you're looking at like South American cities and you're kind of lured to those or drawn to those because of the dirt cheap like price of living, I would say it's not there. It's going to be more than that. It's going to be Europe's version of that, but still much more affordable than what you're going to spend in North America. I would say for 9 out of 10 items you're going to purchase, you're going to spend a third less than you will in America, but definitely not. Watch out for those articles and those hooks that tell you, oh, you can live for $1,000 a month, because that's probably unrealistic.
Some of you can, but probably not us.
We'll do another video as we start getting some real bills in. We go next month to actually close, so we'll start getting utility bills and tax bills and things like that. As those begin to come in, we'll share with you kind of what those look like, and we'll see what actual expenses, if they match sort of our expectations. But thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the comments below.